In the video immediately preceding this one, I talked about the fact that people have different opinions as to whether or not it would be desirable to have a general welfare clause in the Constitution. There is not one. And because there are a great many Americans with very sensible reasoning and sincere views, because there are a lot of Americans who wish there were a general welfare clause, the fact that there isn't has caused there to be a seizing upon a clause that does exist in the Constitution and using it as a surrogate for the wished for general welfare clause. And that clause that does exist is the Interstate Commerce Clause. The Constitution, in Article 1, Section 8, among the enumerated powers given to Congress, the Constitution does give to Congress the authority, the power to regulate interstate commerce. And because there's no general welfare clause, those who want a general welfare clause have turned to the Interstate Commerce Clause and used it as a substitute to allow the national government, the federal government, extremely broad power to do just about anything it might want to do. And it's because one can plausibly connect almost any aspect of our national culture, commerce, almost any aspect can be connected to it somehow to interstate commerce. Let me give you an extreme example. Let's say the federal government passed a law saying that you're not allowed to wear red socks. People might say, well, where did they get that authority from the Constitution? Well, the Interstate Commerce Clause, because red socks generally are manufactured, in fact, overseas, and they certainly pass across state boundaries on their way to retail outlets. So the Interstate Commerce Clause would give Congress that power. I don't think most people would buy that. Like I say, it's an extreme example, but kind of like the 6 steps of Kevin Bacon, almost anything can, if you stretch the interpretation enough, be connected to the Interstate Commerce Clause of the Constitution. And I'm going to talk about that fact more in other videos. And there's contentious argument. It becomes a very divisive issue when the Interstate Commerce Clause is used to presumably give some power to Congress. For example, it's invoked to explain why Congress has the power to inject itself into public education, Common Core, standardized testing, all these things that are put into public education from the federal level are justified with the Interstate Commerce Clause. And a lot of people say, well, how is Common Core relevant to interstate commerce? Well, the materials pass across state lines, or education, how well students are educated will later have an impact on interstate commerce. Anyway, it's very contentious and we need to understand it. So I'm going to talk more about it later. Man, mosquitoes are biting my ankles like crazy. So I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for listening. And it's a nice afternoon in Bell Buckle. The mosquitoes are loving it.